I would be beyond happy if you click that like button and subscribe and turn on your notifications. That helps a lot, especially in the start. Thanks. Back to the video. So for those who don't know what Google Cloud is, it's a cloud computing service and it's basically the same as AWS, just from Google. You might be asking, why is it interesting for me? What are the use cases? Well, what I can do with Google Cloud essentially. Well, the thing is, you can do pretty much anything a computer can. So you can manage databases, store them there, control them from there, do machine learning, create apps, deploy those apps, and control those apps from the Google Cloud Console. And the thing is, you can do this essentially for free for the first 12 months or up till you run out of $300 credit. So there's actually no reason not to try it. So all that is cool and nice, but just naming the features isn't telling the whole story, and more importantly, it doesn't cover the costs. A use case with a bill attached to it would be better, and as it happens, I have one. Some time ago, I did a bot which is stored on Google Cloud, and my trial on Google Cloud is ending quite soon. That's the video. The bot itself, well, you can check the full video around here. Essentially, it's just a simple bot based on DistilGPT-2 transformer from Hugging Face, and then fine-tuned on Yahoo Answers.
Am I pregnant? 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 Help? Is there a possibility that I'm pregnant?
No! God, please, no! No!
Yeah, those Yahoo Answers, it just basically tries to answer your question as good as it can, taking into account that it tries to do that as an average Yahoo Answers user would do, and well, that's the fun of it. So now as we know what the bot should actually do, we can switch to Google Console and check what components are needed to actually run it. So what we have before us is the named console, the center place to monitor your applications. And my bot specifically uses two services from Google Cloud, which are the App Engine and the Kubernetes Engine. You can check all the controls and all the services here. So we have the App Engine and Kubernetes Engine under Compute, and we can just quickly check those two out. And before we do, what are those two and why specifically do I need to use them? The App Engine is basically just a container for my front-end application. I think that's quite obvious. It has a domain name attached to it, so we can just go to there and the front-end application will pop up. As for the Kubernetes Engine, what is that? Well, that's just a fancy way of saying a cluster of compute engines. So here you can see there's a hello cluster of a size 2. So what it has is just 2 compute engines and a Docker image of the system it needs to run. So how they work together and why I'm using them? So the App Engine has the front-end application to which you go through the domain name. You input your question in that little box and press the Let Go button, which then gets sent to the Kubernetes Engine, well, the API, but the API is in the Kubernetes Engine. API request and answer based on your question from the model which is also in the Kubernetes Engine. That answer gets calculated, given back to the API, and through the API, the front-end application can fetch the answer, show it to you, and bam, the circle of life begins again. So why not put everything into one big application and then just deploy that to the App Engine or to a service like Heroku, which is basically the App Engine from Google Cloud, just it can be free. Well, there's two things, but mainly it's the size limitation. The biggest application you can have is 512 megabytes, and mine is way bigger because DistilGPT transformer weights take quite a bit of space, and there's also the vocabulary and the additional packages, so it's really hard to fit in 512 megabytes. And the second thing is bug fixing. I make a lot of mistakes in my code, and when I run it and deploy it, it doesn't really work from the first time. And it's just easier to fix separately the front-end application, the API, and then the model. So talking about Heroku, I think it may be that the first time you hear that word, and don't worry, I'll do an additional video about that. But for now, you can just check out this video on how to deploy an application to it, and it explains the Heroku service a bit. And as we started to talk about the costs, as Heroku is free, well, this application costs $50 to run monthly, and here's an invoice of it. So you can see in the invoice that the main costs are the compute engines. Those are here, and I think the app engine is included in that as well. You can see here there's an external AP charge that's for the API to work, so that the front-end application could request answers through the API. And at the end you'll see there's a free trial credit, so everything is
Free.
And as I said before, Google Cloud for the first 12 months and up to a $300 credit is free to use, so you can play around with it, do machine learning, deploy applications like this one to answer silly questions based on silly data from a Yahoo Answers dataset. And yeah, just do anything that you wanna do. And there's a bunch of documentation on it. It's sometimes contradictory, but there's also a lot of tutorials by the community itself. And hey, you can watch one of my tutorials on Google Cloud. And yeah, if you watched till this part, I hope you liked the video and click that like button. If you didn't, please do now. Do the same with the subscribe button, with the bell notifications button, and if you think some of your friends might find this interesting, please share with them. If you have any comments, if you tried out the Answer This bot and got a nice answer, please share that with us as well in the comment section. Same goes with the suggestions, and yeah, I hope to see you soon.